Okay, you can also have a structure inside of another structure, and that is called a nested structure. So look here, I have a structure called person info, which has a person's name, address, and city, all strings. And then I also have a structure called student. A student structure has a student ID, an age, and a GPA. But look, it also has a person info, which means it also has a name, address, and city. So the person info structure is nested within the student structure. So in your main function, let's pretend we have a main function here. Main. Okay. I would not create person info. What I would do is I would create a student. So student, and I'm just going to call it S. So I created one student, and what that does in memory, so I'm going to draw memory, I don't know, I'll draw it in blue. Memory, there we go. So in memory, on this line right here, we would now have, we would now have S, which is of data type student. So what would be inside of S? Well, we would have a student ID, which is an integer. We would have a person info P data, so P data, which contains a name, an address, and a city. And then we would also have an age and a GPA. So all of that will be created in memory whenever we create a student. So now how would I access each of these members? Well, student ID is pretty easy. S dot operator student ID is equal to, I'll just put a 7. Boop, right there. Now, what if I want to enter in a person's name? I would have to say S dot name. Woo, I just messed that up. P data. Okay, so I have to access the person info variable, or I'm sorry, member first. Dot name is equal to Frank, or whatever else you want them to be called. Notice I have 2 dot operators. In nested structures, you will always have 2 dot operators. So if I want to have an address, S dot P data dot address is equal to 110 Broad Street, blah, 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 blah. And city, S dot P data dot city is equal to, I don't know, Cookeville. Now to get age, it's not nested. Age is equal to 17. S dot GPA is equal to 3.8, semicolon. Only 1 dot operator to access the members which are not nested. Okay. There is a program example called nested struct _1. Let's see if I can find it real quick. It's right there. I have a date structure which has month, day, year, a place structure which has address, city, state, zip, an employee info structure which has a date structure nested inside of it and a place structure nested inside of it. So whenever I want to access address, city, state, I'm going to be going through residence. Whenever I want to access month, day, year, I have to go through birth date. So I create an employee info variable, called it manager, and notice when I enter in the birth date, I say manager dot birth date dot month. 2 dot operators. Same thing for address, city, state, zip. I have 2 dot operators to enter in that data. Everything else, in other words, the name and employee number, only has 1 dot operator to access that data or that particular member in the structure. Okay. I think that's it about nested structures. Now, I do have an in-class practice, which is good because then that really tells you if you're understanding this material or not. And I highly, 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 highly recommend that you do these in-class practices and join with me in these Zoom meetings. I feel like the students who are joining are really benefiting from that. Let me see. Oh, Chapter 7 practice. Okay, this is going to be the second practice. And it's uploaded to iLearn. Okay, here we go. So this practice is on nested structures. And so you're going to write a program that's going to get information about 3 cars and print it. And you're going to have a car info structure and you're going to have a car structure. And that way you can actually, you're going to have a an array of structures as well. So that's going to let you practice on both array of structures and on nested structures. All right, so make sure you do this in class practice and then join me via Zoom so that we can go through the practice together. Write down any questions you have as well.